Hello and welcome to today's Shorts Roundtable. I'm Paul Sloop, the Short Films Programming Manager for the Cleveland International Film Festival, and I'll be hosting today's talk. Before we get started, however, we want to take a moment to say thank you to PNC for sponsoring our Filmmaker Conversations content throughout this year's festival. On today's roundtable, we'll be joined by filmmakers representing some of the short films that are included as part of Comedy Shorts Program 3. So with that in mind, please allow me to welcome our guests for today's conversation. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. To get started, I would ask each of you to introduce yourself, your film, what your role was on the film, and where you're calling in from today. And let's start with Chris.
My name is Chris Franklin. I'm the editor of the short I Can Change, which was directed by Jim Jenkins.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Erb. I am the co-director, co-writer, and co-star of Gratitude Jar Time Capsule, and I'm based in Los Angeles.
Hi there, I'm Deb Height. I am the co-part of what she just said for Gratitude Jar Time Capsule, also in Los Angeles.
I'm Amina Sutton. I'm the co-director, co-producer, writer, and star of The Price of Cheap Rent, and I'm based in Brooklyn, New York.
Hi, my name is Arkady Chayet. I'm the co-director and writer of the film Mazel Tov Cocktail, and I'm calling in from Germany.
Well, thank you all so much for taking the time to join us today. To get us started conversationally, what I'd ask each of you to do is take a moment to share either the inspiration for the film or what led you to make this particular short film. And again, we'll start with Chris.
Well, as an editor, I work with Jim a lot. We both come out of advertising. I'm an editor, primarily do television commercials, and I've worked with Jim for years. And Jim has been he works in used to work in advertising and then started directing, and is a wonderful commercial director. And over the years, I've always bugged him about, you should really do a short because he's a brilliant writer. And finally, he gave in and wrote a script and decided to shoot it and put a crew together and asked me if I wanted to do it. And I said yes. And obviously, with shorts, as I think everybody on the panel can attest to, you're doing it for the passion and the love of it. You're not doing it for the compensation. So there's not a paycheck at the end, but you're going to put in a lot of time. And, I gave over 100 or so hours and decided to dive in and give it a shot. And it's wonderful because in advertising, obviously you're working with a lot of people and a lot of tiers of people, and you have to go through all these steps to get things approved. And it's a task, and with this, it was just Jim and I, and it was wonderful. We were the only people involved until we screened it for the first time, and then and then went through that horrifying process. So,
oh no, your film is one of those films that I had seen on the circuit myself this year, and Evan with your team had submitted it to me just on via email, and I noticed in the last week whoa, it's not officially in the database, and I started scrambling, reaching out. I've got to share this film with the Clevelanders. They've got to see it. So we got connected, and it's really going to be thrilling to share it with the audience. So thank you, Chris. Stephanie.
Well, first of all, I have to say it is a very small world because I've shot 3 commercials with Jim Jenkins.
Oh, there you go.
Not recently, but in my young mom days, and he is an extremely talented director. Cut to Gratitude Jar Time Capsule, which I think I learned never underestimate the power of a pancake breakfast, because Deb and I would go, we need to start making stuff and playing things we want to play. And also, women are funny. So Deb needed pancakes. We found a place that would provide them for her. And that's how this all
started.
For a small
fee. There was a small fee. They didn't just hand me pancakes.
Yes.
There was a bill.
In fact, I have to bring her pancakes all the time. Just
in my contract.
So she'll talk to me, frankly.
Yeah.
So we just decided, why not make our own thing where we can play things we want to do, and we both have a quirky, sort of aligned sense of humor, and it was fairly effortless. We just had to gather funds in order to shoot and ask for favors and find a line producer. Our line producer, Ben Sollenberger, really helped us make it happen. And it took us, a year to find him? It took a while to get this off the ground. And then it was a lot of fun. I think Deb and I have both worked in TV and film for a long time. And you learn stuff by osmosis that you don't realize you know. And when you actually start to make things, you go, oh, I can do this. And I'm going to pass that to you down there. Are you having pancakes right now, by the way?
I have just consumed a whole plate of pancakes.
I figured. I know you well.
You do. The inspiration for this particular story, because we had talked about creating stories that feature offbeat, quirky women, but didn't just pit them against each other in the framework of comedy. I had read something about a gratitude jar versus a gratitude journal, where every day of a year, you would start January 1st, you would write on a little scrap of paper something you were grateful for, put it in the jar, and you didn't repeat yourself ever. And then at the end of the year, I don't know, you dump out the jar and make like snow angels or something. I don't know. You have a lot to be grateful for. And so we thought this was really a funny idea. And the idea of a jar is such a timeless thing intrinsically to me. So we thought, well, what if it was two different eras? This had been something people had been doing for hundreds of years.
And I was desperately in need of playing a prairie woman.
She did want that.
It was important to me in my life too.
Yes, you already had the bonnet.
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, I think you already had the bonnet.
Yeah. You had the bonnet, but it fit my head.
My bonnet. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, so that was the inspiration for this.
It's such a fun film. I'm glad you both got to do it. Thank you for sharing it. Amina.
Yeah, so I think my co-director, Maya Tanaka, and I have a similar story. Sorry, I don't know which is, I guess this is my turn to you guys. We have a similar story of just like working together. We were college buds. We've worked together for a really long time. We both have sort of worked in branded or documentary editorial work, and just always wanted to make something of our own that kind of reflected ourselves and reflected our community. And this short, like I wrote it, but it was like inspired by, living in a rapidly gentrifying city in these really old apartments that have these like deep histories, and just kind of assuming everywhere you're moving into might be haunted was kind of the sort of I guess sort of catalyst for the idea. And then sort of just like bringing in sort of the work that we're familiar with. A lot of the people who worked on this short have also worked in branded content or in documentaries. So we just kind of like allowed all those things to sort of like come together in this mockumentary. So yeah.
It was smart and a fun ride. A fun ride for sure. Khadij.
Yes. So Mazel Tov Cocktail was a third-year project in my film school. And I'm Jewish myself. And in Germany, you always have to answer the question what it's like to be Jewish in Germany. So we thought we don't want to answer it anymore. So let's make a film, and let's make a film from a subjective Jewish perspective and from a subjective Jewish point of view. And so we kind of asked ourselves, what do Germans actually know about Jewish life? Tell me 5 things, like except anti-Semitism, Holocaust, and maybe Israel. And it feels like growing up Jewish in Germany, it feels like the Jews in Germany are only talked about from the German perspective as the perpetrators, and the Jews are the victims. And we kind of wanted to break the stereotypes and make a fast-paced, educating, fun film about this topic to watch, a film which we would like to watch about this topic ourselves. Yeah.
So there aren't a lot of 30-minute films that find an easy path into film festivals, and especially when they're also relating comedy, and yours did all that and was like the entire team was like, oh yeah, I don't care, it's 30 minutes, it's great. Good stuff. So thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to take the guess here. Is it Jorgen?
Yeah, Jorgen. Yeah.
Welcome,
Totally
welcome.
right.
So glad you could make it.
Thank you very much. I had some difficulties with calculating the right time zones from Cleveland back to Holland. So I thought it was 1 hour later, but
Well, we're glad you made it. So I'm
yeah.
going to ask you to do two things: officially introduce yourself, your film, and your role on the film, and then give us a background what led to the making of your film, and then you'll be all caught up with us.
All right. Well, my name is Jorgen Scholtens. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm 34 years old, and I'm the director of the movie Koekoek, we say in Holland. And it's a movie about a man who lives inside a cuckoo's clock, and his job is to strap himself every hour in a chair, and then he got shot out of his house to yell at cuckoo. Well, that's actually it. Yeah, but well, while the movie goes on, of course, something's gonna happen that he's not able to cuckoo on time anymore, and then hell breaks loose.
It's always great when just describing your film can make you laugh in the comedy block. It's great. Perfect. Thank you, Jorgen, and welcome again.
Yeah, thank you.
The follow-up that I'd have for all of you is, normally when we're in person, one of the things we love to do, and I want to do it here too, is say, what's that one backstory? What's the one thing you'd want an audience to know about your film that there's no way they'd know from just watching it? This is wide open. You can tell them anything you want. Just give them something, a tidbit about your film that you think they'd appreciate knowing. And we'll start again with Chris.
There we go. Sorry, I was muted. I was saying, as an editor, it's hard to tell funny stories that happen during the shoot because a lot of times you're not at the shoot and you're alone in a room. So I could talk about funny stuff that happened when I was alone in the room, but that would be really boring. But the thing I can say is that, I was talking before about working with Jim Jenkins, the director and writer on it. And I think that the great thing is the way you wrap yourself in the stupidity in doing a comedy and just laugh at the dumbest things and realize that something is working. And when, the hard part, and everybody can relate to this, certainly doing comedy, is the silence when something doesn't land is deafening in comedy. And when you finally get something that lands and hits a sweet spot, there's nothing like it. It's exhilarating. And, hopefully, I think everybody on this call has, those moments in the film where you just look at it and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe that worked the way it did. And it just works beautifully. It's exciting. And, the tough part is certainly with comedy is when you're not seeing it in a room with a lot of people, it's tough because everybody feeds off of everybody else in the room. And you also have the experience of people laughing at something that you never really thought was that funny. It was okay. But all of a sudden, people, really take it on and laugh at it. So that's always interesting too. But it's just fun working on comedy because it's hard. Comedy is really, really hard. But boy, when it works, there's nothing like it.
You made such a great point there that we discuss every year as programmers because we're mostly watching the films, other than when I get to travel to festivals, in a room by ourselves. And comedy's just, that never reflects the reality of what that film's going to play like.
No.
Until this year. We're like, oh, wait. Now they're going to experience the film mostly just like we do.
Yeah.
But I usually, in our process, I'm always like, when someone goes, it's just too dumb, I'm like, oh, no, it's never too dumb. Okay. Anything you think is too dumb, just wait till an audience gets their hands on it, because immediately the only person who's going to feel dumb at the end is you, that you said it was too dumb, and they're all laughing. So yeah, it's just something that an audience makes comedy work at another level, because we all give permission to each other to laugh out loud and have a good time. Where when you're sitting by yourself, it's like you're judging yourself. Is that funny? I don't know. Should I laugh? I'm not sure. It's such a great point, Chris. It's such a great point.
It's electric when you're in a group of people and something is hitting and working. There's an electricity that runs through the room that you can't describe. And to your point too is, you're sitting in a room and you're looking at something and it's working, but you're like, man, that is stupid. And then I'd turn around to Jim and we'd both smile at each other like, yep, that's as stupid as it gets. And thank you, it works. So
It's going to work, right?
yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Stephanie.
Well, I think one of the things that we shot a bunch of times was the very final beat of Gratitude Jar Time Capsule. And it just got, I think Deb and I are both pretty adept at improv, so we probably could have done it for an hour.
I think we did too.
Yeah, we probably did. So I have to give it to our editor, Michael Janowska, he's a genius. And he managed to help us look at maybe the 4 real options instead of all of them, where we just babbled on and on. I think the second thing I learned is don't skimp on makeup and hair, because Deb and I were like, oh, this was part of a trilogy. And in one of them, I had to play a ghost. And I stupidly thought, well, I'll just put on some powder and I'll look ghostly. It didn't look like that at all. It looked like me, basically. So I went to my kitchen and I covered my face with flour and water, basically biscuit dough, to try to look like a ghost. So I think
And
we
it worked.
did learn that next time when we shoot one of these things, we will splurge and get a makeup and hair person to help us.
Great.
On to my partner.
And I think that speaks to just the, when you're making something, you want to save money, you want to, bare bones, we can do it. I got a friend that can do, and we were like, we could do our own hair and makeup. And then, it's the last thing you want, like last looks, and you're like, it's fine. You just want to keep going. You need somebody that's all.
And we're extremely vain.
We're very vain.
Yes.
We spent a lot of time and it didn't help at all.
No.
I really don't have anything to add to that in terms of, because we were able to shoot this at Stephanie's home, and she has this amazing view. So it really looked unlike any LA typical set or home, which was really lovely. But all I can think of now is we happened to shoot this the first week of March last year. And we would, it was the before times. So we would take breaks and we were eating across from each other. And, we weren't like making out, but we were all within 6 feet of each other. And now I think like of all the aerosolized particles that were just flying around, it's just a miracle how quickly things change. Anyway, now I'm going to start to cry. But yeah, so it was super fun.
You made great lasagna.
I would make a lasagna that everybody ate. And, but yeah, I brought it way down now.
Pancakes and lasagna. Gotcha.
Yeah, there
I
you
tried
go.
to bring it up with the lasagna. We can talk about pancakes if that would help you.
Thank you, Stephanie and Deb, so much. Amina.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much to pull for. Like we only were able to make this because a friend of a friend inherited a large sum of money, gave it to a friend, and then that friend was like, I'm gonna help some other people out, I'm gonna pass on some of this cash, and that's what gave us the money to do this. So every part of it, we completely related to that idea of you're just trying to save every dime and do what you can to just make it work. The biggest thing was we had an actress who was going to play. We have one character through this whole thing. We had an actress we had for this, and maybe a week before this, we decided to part ways. And my co-director was like, "You wrote it, you do it. Come on, get out there, get in front of that camera." And that's kind of how the whole thing came together. And in a weird way, by doing the character is goth in it, and that was not written in it originally, but I needed something to hide behind because I'm not an actress. I just needed to not be me, and I think it changed everything for us, it changed our dynamic. We shot it like it was a document, she's on the other side, Maya's on the other side of that camera feeding me questions, and we're playing it like an actual documentary, and it changed the entire thing. So I'm actually, as sad as I was about not having this actress in the film, I was like very great. Like in the long term, you're like, wow, that really worked out for us, and we didn't have to pay her, which is even better. So yeah, that's probably our biggest thing that happened. And also we finished editing the day New York went into lockdown. So I completely relate. Yeah.
Well, it's another cosmic string story, and there's no way watching that any of us thought, oh, that she wasn't the one supposed to play that role either. So great work. Arkadish.
So did people already see the film while they're watching this interview now?
Let's hope so. It plays at the end of the program, so
I don't want to spoil.
Let's hope they didn't skip ahead to watch you first.
So in maybe one. I mean, there are many stories, but maybe one interesting one. So in the film, there is this Holocaust memorial where the girls are dancing at, and in scouting, we're looking for a Holocaust memorial where we can shoot this scene. And Germany is full of them, but no one, for obvious reasons, would let us dance on top of a memorial. So we're looking for like weeks, and finally we said, let's build our own. So the set designers built a whole memorial, and they put it in a forest, and they had to guard it for 3 days and 3 nights. And so now, I mean, I don't know how it is in the US, but in Germany, we're always asked, where's this memorial? Because it looks so real and everyone believes that we actually shot there. And that's quite interesting. Wow. But like it's in general, I just wanted to say it's like so cool and kind of crazy speaking to American audience, because while we were making this film, we always thought this is such a German Jewish topic, and it's such and so narrowed down to German Jewish relations, and I never thought that it will actually work abroad and will speak in other countries and outside of Europe. So it's really cool.
Well, it's great. But there are so many different elements about your film that are there to like. I mean, I know that our programming team talked a lot about the music breaks, all the times where we'd stop and play the dramatic, sad, violin-ish music every time that someone started to engage. Oh, you're Jewish. It's like it's so true. That's why American audiences relate. Like every movie that's about this is going to be about the same thing, as though there's no other life for a Jewish German other than to be a victim of the Holocaust, and that's it. That's all there is to it. So you just tackle the issue so well, and it's going to be a treat to share with the audience. So thank you,
Paul.
Jorgen.
Yes. Oh yeah, I'm muted. So the question was like any particular stories, right?
Yeah.
Well, the thing, the movie is made for very little money, so I always have to be grateful for all the people that worked with us especially to build the set. We really built like the whole Cuckoo's Clock, like on scale 8 by 6 meters. The inside, we built it with like 15 people for 4 weeks, so that was great that succeeded for the movie. And funny stories, on every set you end up with things that will never happen on any other place besides a film set. I think like in the movie, at one moment there's a cat flying through the air. Well, we asked the animal handler, so how should we fix it? How can we make a cat fly? And she said, oh, we can just throw her. I said, okay, well, all right. So we went this green screen, and she brought this very giant cushion and cushion. You say that? Do I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so she laid it there, and she was standing like 5 meters on the other side, and a green screen behind her, and she just threw the cat like 5 meters through the air. And like the saying, like in Holland we say, I don't know. In Holland we got a saying like a cat always lands on its feet. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
well, it happened. So luckily enough, it did. But yeah,
That's great. So many funny
well,
things.
you never throw cats normally in normal life, right?
Let's hope
No.
Also they get stunt pay. They have like in their contracts, they get a lot more money for that sort of
Yeah.
camera. Yeah, they're expensive, those cats.
Yeah. crazy.
Great films to all of you. Thank you for sharing your films, your stories, and your insights on your films with us today. We really appreciate it. And on behalf of everyone at CIFF, allow me again to thank you for joining us for today's roundtable. We also want to thank you, our audience, for joining us for today's Shorts Roundtable. Without your ongoing support, we wouldn't be here to help you bring film home. We hope you'll consider supporting our challenge match again this year, presented by Cuyahoga Arts and Culture to support the future of our festival. This year, our goal is to raise $145,000, and we are so grateful in advance for any amount you're able to contribute. To make a donation or to purchase tickets or to check out our full schedule of filmmaker conversations, visit our website at clevelandfilm.org. With that, please stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll look forward to seeing you back here again very soon. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Paul.
Yeah, thank you.